Hello everybody and welcome back to another Tamashii Nation's S.H Monsterarts review. Today, we're looking at a figure that I've actually bought back in February, so I've had it for like quite a few months, so it's about time I actually get into it. Today we're looking at the Night Color Edition Godzilla from King of the Monsters. I bought this from a Tamashii Nation's pop-up booth back in February, and also I got the -1 Godzilla as well as the special edition Kong holding the Mecha Godzilla head. This has sparked a bit of debate when this figure was released, and I remember it was very 50-50. There was people who said, oh, this is a great Godzilla figure, but there was a good portion of people who said, bro, this thing is expensive, this thing is not worth it, what's the point of re-releasing something? Well, that is what I'm here to find out. Now, I bought this in preparation for GXK at this time, but at this point I've reviewed so many GXK figures, I had to step back and do some older movies. So this is from King of Monsters. I wasn't sure if this was from GVK or King of Monsters, but it said 2019 on the date, so that sealed the fate, and that answered the question quite well. So, the Night Color Edition. Apparently it's a Japanese exclusive, meaning if I didn't buy this from the Tamashii Nation's booth, I would have probably had to get this from a third-party seller or go to Japan to get it. Without further ado, enough yapping, let's dive into this figure, shall we? So, this is a very small box. This was not the packaging I was also expecting for this box, but I'm not complaining, I'll take it. It looks very interesting, you know, it's just a black box. You know what this reminds me of? Those 18 plus Lego sets, because they also do the black box concept and just have the set printed on there. So I guess it looks more mature in a way compared to a colorful box intended to target kids. Well, I guess not for this case, because this is a pretty sophisticated box, and I guess this is to label that's from the Tamashii Nation store, so that's interesting to say the least, because I haven't seen any other stores I usually go to sell these that is selling this, so interesting. You got a render of Godzilla there. We have a bunch of info down here in the corner. We have some of the logos here by Bandai, and this sticker is to let you know that this thing is a legit figure and not a knockoff. There's just too many knockoffs being created these days. Simple as that. On this side, just more rendering. We have the label, we have some of the other stuff, and the Tamashii Nation store. And then at the bottom, just a bunch of Japanese text that I don't understand whatsoever, so if you do want to read it, you may pause the video to do so. And then that's what it is up here. So yeah, very simple packaging, but it's very, I guess, adult-y, you know, the black box, 18 plus Lego sets. That's exactly what this is giving off. So without further ado, let's crack open this box and take a look at the figure. Am I a bit frustrated with this figure? Yes, I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm gonna be a little honest with you. I did not find enjoyment in this figure. The unboxing process was fine, but turns out this figure is delicate as a piece of ice. God damn, this thing broke way too easily. The second I took this figure out of the box, the leg snapped right off, and it took me almost 10 minutes to really put it back together. So I'm gonna try my best to not move it as much. And then also the bit of the tail at the end also came off. Why is this thing so delicate? What's going on? The previous S.H Monsterarts figures that I've gotten have not been this delicate before. Why? All of a sudden, maybe it's just this specific figure, but either way, it was quite frustrating to put the leg back together because it took way longer than needed. This figure is the same quality as all the previous iterations, such as this one also from 2019, also from King of the Monsters, and as you can see, what is the actual difference? Coloring. Remember, this is called the Night Color Edition, but it is the most subtle coloring you'll ever see. It's blue, it's a dark blue shading, and maybe it's because of this lighting I have here, but it's noticeable, but it's very, very hidden. Like, you gotta really look closely into the figures to see a real difference in the coloring. Other than that, you're looking at the exact same mold, so it's not much of a difference. Also, you can see with the original 2019 Godzilla, it's more of a gray, a little bit of green on it, on a bit of the color palette. As for our night color edition here, most of the gray is lightly shadowed by the blue fading you can see up top here. I don't know how well this actually picks up in this lighting. I've actually tried testing this in the dark to see if it glows in the dark. It does not, so there's no point in trying it. So this is your best look at the coloring of this said figure. Now it's the same size. Is it the same price? I believe so. This was also around, I want to say $100 when I bought it, and you know S.H Monsterarts has a very high price tag, so you shouldn't be surprised when I said how much this costed. This was also $100. If you want more comparisons, oh don't worry, I got more to compare. Here's GVK Godzilla, dropped in 2021. Obviously this is the most obvious coloring in terms of his dorsal plates. This one, you can clearly tell that this is a remake for sure. Not counting the GXK re-release Godzilla. That one, you're basically looking at it. I think they just reworked the blue on the dorsal fins as well as adding the atomic breath. I am not picking that one up. It's a waste of money. I'm just saving for the pink Godzilla when it finally drops. So there you go. You can see, you know, the mold is pretty much the same, and that's because, you know, Godzilla is the same build, but the colors have really been the major selling points and why there's been so many different versions. Now, let's look at -1 Godzilla, which of course I just reviewed. Now, -1 Godzilla's case costed double the price. He was roughly around $200, I think, actually $250 with tax and all that. So, -1 Godzilla was extremely pricey, and that really dismotivated me, and it kind of took points away just because of the price. I didn't feel good knowing how much I dropped getting this figure. I guess you can say the same with the night color Godzilla here, but we're looking at -1 and Monsterverse Godzilla here. So you can see it's the same size, but I would like to mention that -1 does feel heavier. There's more weight to it, whereas night color Godzilla here is very light. It's lighter. It's actually, in fact, lighter than the original 2019 Godzilla here. So I just don't get the S.H Monsterarts quality. It's very inconsistent because I want to praise them. They have good figures here like Mecha Godzilla, who is a very common candidate to compare these Godzilla figures to, and also scaling wise, this is quite accurate. But Mechagodzilla was so good because of the quality of the flexibility as well as the plastic they used to forge it. It almost feels metal-like when you hold this Mechagodzilla figure, and I was very impressed with the result that came up. And then this is the same company that also made a very delicate Godzilla figure. This one, where the leg snapped, the tail snapped, the articulation is pretty much the same. Arm, elbow, and head articulation, it's like the same playability you'd get. So posability is of course very, very easy, as well as playability, though I don't really recommend playing with this figure as much. Also the tail is on massive ball socket, many ball socket points, so lots of points of articulation. So it's the same you expect for every S.H Monsterarts Godzilla mold. Yet this thing is so delicate compared to Mecha G. Why is that? I just don't get it. So in a way, I can agree with a lot of the criticism regarding this figure. What was the point of this? This is supposed to be a special color edition of the figure, and it's mainly just there for the colors. Now, the blue is okay. I guess this blue isn't his atomic breath. It's just, I guess, the city skyline, the city lights from the skyscrapers mirroring off him. Reflection, if you will. And I guess night coloring, right? So I guess it's him walking through downtown of a city at night. The color's consistent, as you can see. It goes all the way to the tail, and I like that. I like consistency. You know I've been very vocal about that. There is no atomic breath included with this. The only thing that's included with this Godzilla in terms of accessories is an extra pair of claws. These are different hands in case you want different hands for some reason, but they exist, they're included, and this is what they look like. I guess these are closed hands, if you will, because you have the open ones here where he's just opening his hands, and I think that one's much better, so I don't know why to do that. So in case you didn't get it, this is the sheet that is included, just to show you the difference in case you didn't know which hand matches with which hand. So there you go. That's literally all the accessories. No atomic breath. And I'm gonna say I'm a bit disappointed by what I got here. I didn't even plan on getting this figure. I literally came across this at the Tamashii Nations pop-up booth. Instinctively, I saw this on the box and I thought, sure, let's give it a try. So I didn't go out of my way to purchase this. But I can't lie, I'm a bit disappointed with what I got here because I thought Night Color Edition, this will at least have some radiating, like, glowy colors to mimic the atomic breath, but all it really is just the 2019 Godzilla, the original one here, that they took this guy and painted some dark blue very lightly on the figure as well. It's not that obvious, and just re-released it as a brand new figure to grab more cash. I don't think it's the best one that they put out. I am very intrigued to see evolved pink Godzilla when it eventually drops, whenever that may be. That I'm excited for. In fact, is this better than the re-released GXK Godzilla? No, I think the re-released one is a little bit better. Even though I'm not picking it up, I can say just from looking at the images and other people's reviews on it that it actually looks decent despite being basically a re-release. The colors work on there. I would appreciate it more if the color is more obvious. This night color isn't that obvious, and if you really want this figure to stand out, you know, like Burning Godzilla or the many different versions of Godzilla that they're doing, if you really want this to stand out as his own, the color needs to be obvious to the point where you can notice it on the box. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I looked at the box, wasn't really that obvious. It's there, but the blue isn't too obvious, and you can't really tell it's a night color that they're trying to advertise with this figure. I know I didn't show much. I didn't move the articulation quite a bit because it's the same for the MonsterVerse Godzillas. There's not much to expect here. So out of 10, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. It's a pretty weak figure in my opinion from S.H Monsterarts. A lot of the older ones I have are much better in my opinion, and I do think -1 Godzilla, even though it's much more expensive, is a lot better designed than the Night Color Godzilla that they have here. I'm not too impressed with it, and the fact that it was so delicate, the legs snapped, the tail snapped, it kind of really ruined the experience for me. Thanks for watching this review. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and of course, I've got the other special edition Kong that I also got to review from this Tamashii Nations booth that I went to. Also check out the Godzilla -1 review if you haven't already. So thanks for watching this one. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.